Hey there, everyone. Happy Friday. What a wild market day. I'm going to talk to you today about what we saw with the indices, the S&P, the NASDAQ 100, Russell 2000 stocks. I'm also going to talk about the best penny stocks to buy now, the recap that I'll put out. We'll see how we did for the week, and we'll also take a forward look from where we stand with those penny stocks and then also quantum stocks. How did they do today? Because I said it's possible we haven't seen the last of their run yet, given the momentum that we have. And by the way, something really super crazy about it is I record my two videos. I finished my last one at 7:19, and wait till I show you at 7:19 a.m. from this morning what happened in the market. So if you watch my morning videos and you're like, hey, what happened? This is way off. Oh, I'll tell you what was way off, just in case you're not aware of that. And by the way, I share all my news information, my technicals, my buys and sells over at the Discord. Links down in the description, 50% off when you sign up for the earner tier using code word doctor. We'll talk more later, but in the meantime, let's put up the charts here. We're going to go to the Qs. And in the pre-market this morning, I'll tell you about that right now. In the pre-market this morning, we were up near yesterday's close, right around the 513 level. And by the time the market opened, we were way down here at, well, I'm sorry, even farther down. There we go. At about 506. Matter of fact, 506.18 is where the Qs opened. Well, what in the world happened? Well, if we go to the minute chart, we'll reset the view here and we'll go back to the pre-market hours. Like I said, I did a double feature this morning. I finished recording one probably about 7:06 or so. So not much remarkable happened. Finished the second one at 7:19. And guys, to the minute, will you look and see 7:19, what happened on the chart? Holy cow. Trump came out and threatened with 50% tariffs on the EU. And that's exactly what I didn't mention. But I did say if we get bad tariff news, it could definitely put downward pressure on the markets. And here it is. So I did address the tariffs at least. But I couldn't have anticipated that. And man, oh man, like what, just not great timing there. But I think you'll check, if you check it out and find what I said this morning to what exactly happened in the market today, it still holds out. I talked about my short hedge for if the market falls below 513. And that was one of the ways that I benefited. One of the ways that I profited was a short hedge position I had just in case we traded below 513, snagging 58% profit on that trade. I'll share that with you as well when we take a look at the trade wins from the Discord. I'll give you that update. And like I said, guys, links in the description. So let's put this up here. Let's talk forward looking now, because one thing that I said when we were talking about what we could see for the Qs is we could see this gap fill, and that gap fill goes all the way down. Here's the hard number on this, 491.54. You can call it 492 if you want to. 200 days at 493 right now. I said we didn't necessarily have to get that immediately. It could take any amount of time in order to get there. But you could see the previous gap fill that we had over here. The market went up a little bit, came down, and it was on May 7th that we actually tagged down and filled this gap. I don't know. Let me see if I can really put it up here in the middle of the screen for you so you don't have to crane your neck downward too much or anything like that. Right there from the 30th of April till the 7th of May, there's that gap fill. I'm talking about the same thing right now that we could potentially see that gap fill down to here. We got a big 2 weeks. Watch my video from this morning because I talk about all the catalysts that are coming up for us. The 20-day is massive support for us. We might catch it. This previous peak over here, which happens to be at 493.62, we might catch it. Remember, this one's right just south of 492, 491.54. So you got like a $2 range for us to possibly potentially catch that. We got just a massive amount of support. I think this is the next major opportunity that I'm looking for. I can tell you that I went into this weekend with kind of a light trading portfolio because we got a 3-day weekend coming up. We just had a massive catalyst. We need that time to reset. Even the market selling down to the close like it did, people are taking their profits. They're going to enjoy their weekend. They're going to hit the ground running next week with all those fresh catalysts coming up. Like I said, watch my morning video this morning. It starts off with urgent. Make sure they watch that. It says about Trump tariff news. So make sure they check out that video. And let's move over to the SPY, talk about those numbers. I actually have a few of the technicals up here for you. Now, mind you, something important here is that we actually have a 20 and 200 day cross right here. That is a bullish thing to see that cross. And the one thing that I mostly am at this point in time is bullish with some short-term considerations, such as tariff news can keep on coming in and keep on whacking the hornet's nest. And that's exactly what we saw. The gap fill on this one goes all the way down, actually to this candle right here, 567.50. I have that labeled for you. Maybe we dip down a little bit between the 200 and the 20, but watch for those for solid support. We are just barely north of that right now, about $5 or so north from where we bottomed out on that. From where we closed, a little bit more than that, more like $6, about 1% away from the 200 day, from the 20 day. But let me see, it's about $12 or so, so about 2% down to fill that gap. That's not too unreasonable to see that. And like I said, I think it sets up the next big movement, but it's really definitely highly news dependent from what we get next week and the week following. Tons of economic reports, including a GDP update, inflation report with personal income and outlays. And then we also have the Fed minutes coming out all next week. And then after that, we get labor and ISM services the following week. So like I said, 2 big weeks coming up. And I bet you Trump's out there fishing for some deals, and that's why he came out and said what he said. So moving over to IWM. For this one, I said we could break down below the 20-day, which we did. I said watch for the 50 for support. We didn't get down there, just like we didn't make it to the 200-day for the Qs. We didn't make it to the 200-day for the SPY. So we're just above that 50 right now, which happens to exist right at 197.50. That could set up that next big opportunity should we dip back down below 200. Today's low price, 199.65. 200 is absolutely a psychological support for us. And it's happened so many times that it actually ends up being actual support for us as well. So let's get over into those penny stocks now, and then we'll also talk about the quantum stocks. So out of my best penny stocks to buy now, BBAI. I started talking about the penny stocks on the 20th, and I want to talk about the performance that we saw from the close on the 19th until where we moved to. Let me see, the close on the 19th was up here, up to those peaks. We'll see how much of an opportunity there was during that time. So on the close on the 19th, up until the peaks, 11% for BBAI. If we go until the close today, that one actually ended up being down 2.15%. Is this one dead in the water? I don't think so. For right now, we actually are still in this channel right now. We're sitting at support on this. Yeah, the market had kind of a yucky day. We're getting that selling pressure just north of $4. Need to hold on to that $4 price tag. As a matter of fact, breaking up above 413 is going to be the big thing to watch for BBAI. Then we have room up to 439 and 479 beyond that. So, guys, absolutely keep on watching that 1350 cross. Let's see if we got that. So we'll take down the SMAs, put up the EMAs, and we absolutely got that 1350 cross. So we can take away the question mark. We can put an exclamation mark instead. There we go. Now I will tell you, let me take down the technicals for just a moment, that we did break down below the 5, but we are still holding on to the 13 as support, still the 50 below that. That 5 is very near term for us, and you see that selling pressure pushing us back down. We still have mostly reason to be bullish on BBAI, assuming that the market doesn't have a horrible week next week. The market will help out these penny stocks as well. OCGN is the next penny stock that I had talked about. Once again, same day I talked about it on the 20th, the morning of the 20th. So we'll go back to on the close on the 19th. So 19th, there it is. Market close on the 19th was right there. And then where did it peak out? There we go. 31% from the close to the peak. And when we go from close to close, 21% up on best penny stocks to buy now. We broke over that trend line that you see. Is there still gas in the tank? Absolutely. If we can get back up above $1, you can see the selling pressure that we get. Yesterday, we peaked out at 96 cents. Today, we peaked out at $1.01. And just look at the selling pressure that we get. If we can get up above 96 cents, if we can get back up above $1 especially, that's really going to help us out. You can see this previous peak that we had, high $1. This high, $1.01. So we did go a little bit higher on it. And I will say that for OCGN, for OCGN, as we're looking at it, I still think it has some gas in the tank. Let it cool down a little bit before it resurges. But that one played out beautifully. 30% up, like I said, from close until peak. And then from close to close, 21%. And then the next one's QSI. Still putting in excellent volume on this one. And if we go to the close on the 19th, let's click on that. There we are. The close on the 19th. Holy cow, that's all the way down there. Close on the 19th to the peak. 44% from where we closed on the 19th up until that peak that we got on, well, today, Friday the 23rd, as I record this. And if we go from close to close on that one instead, close to close, there we go. 31, oop, did I miss? Let me try again. Click on the ruler. There we are. Click. I am not very coordinated, just so you know, but we're going to work through it, guys. Click, and then there we go. Close. 37.6% is what it rounds to. 37.59 is what it actually says on here. From the close on the 19th until we got to the close on the 23rd, there you go, 38%. So out of best penny stocks to buy now, did they work out? Well, I would honestly say absolutely. They performed exceedingly well, especially if you took advantage of BBAI while the price was up on that. I think I took 12% as I got stopped out on that as it retraced. But that one was up very handsomely, up like 40% at one point on my options trade on that. Now's probably a good time to share with you some of those trade wins from over at the Discord. So let me pop those up there for you. All right, here's the first trade win shared today, 7:46 a.m. It's an options play. So I'm guessing that was something that's actually closed out the day before. Still absolutely wonderful. Up about 50% on that one. And then at 9:35, 100% profit on that one. 9:39, another winner put in there. Let me see. That one's, we'll call it 75% just to round down. There I posted my percentage, 58% on that one on my short hedge play. And then moving on from there, we also had SQQQQQQ call, S with the Qs. Big old, almost $3,000 realized profit on that one. Ion Q, one of my intraday trades that I had at 12%, got stopped out on that one. And then right here you see Kaiser Yi, because I shared this trade over in the Discord as well. Somebody snagged 35% off that same trade. They must have been a little bit more cavalier than myself on that one. But still, you guys, they keep on going. We can keep on scrolling on down through here, win after win after win. They just keep on pumping out. You guys can join the Discord. You can join the party that's over there. You can see me and the other panel experts, Stockmo as well. All a team of people together there to talk with you, support you in that journey towards financial freedom and building alpha in your portfolio. And we're all very passionate about finance. And guys, I'll tell you what, it's the best community that I've ever been a part of. And you guys can try it out for under $1 a day when you use the code word doctor, when you click on the link and sign up for the earner tier for the Discord down in the description. If you want to learn about this technical analysis like I do, there's a course for that, for technical analysis and trading using the bread recipe, which I personally use, and then also an options course through Stockmo Academy as well. Stockmo being a personal friend of mine, and with my 17 years in education, my earned doctorate in education, I can tell you the courses that have been put together, I've vetted them myself. They are top notch. I wouldn't change a single thing about them. You guys can get those courses cheaper by using the code word doctor, and if you bundle the two courses together, you can have an even bigger discount for that. Guys, with that said, let's get into the quantum stocks. So let's, quantum stocks, here they are. We'll put this up here for you, and we're going to go from QSI into my quantum stock list that I have here for you, QBTS. You guys can see the lines that I have on here, and if we go down to the 4-hour chart on this one, we can see a little bit more. There we go. How the support and resistance work for this, so that you can see a couple days ago, we made some decent trades on this one. There we are. Perfect. Yeah, look at this candle going from one area of support to the other. As a matter of fact, let me change this color coding for you right now because we did trade above it today. We'll label that as support, but the thing is, it's like floor becomes the ceiling, ceiling becomes the floor. Resistance and support, they're really the same thing. It just depends on which side your candles are. So really, we'll find them pretty much around the same places. So on this 4-hour chart, you can see we came up and touched resistance at the top, and we touched support down at the bottom. And then by the time we got to market open, which is where this candle is, you can see we perfectly found support. Didn't quite make it back up to resistance on this one yet, but I will say, as we look at this one, we're seeing just a little bit of hesitation. I said the market could definitely help us with the quantum stocks, and the market just didn't help us today because, like I said, I recorded my video before the tariff news, but still, we did peak out above the previous one on QBTS. We look at QSI, that was the penny stock play. Wonderful day for that one, up almost 11.5%. Ion Q almost took on its previous peak. This one is where I had that trade for 12%. And one of the community members had about 35% on that one. I showed you those trade wins. And this one is still very good volume as we look at Ion Q. And if we put the technicals up here, you can see, let me actually get rid of some of this for you just because it's going to be a little bit noisy with it there. There we go. I can always draw it back on later. What you really want to pay attention to is this 48.66. And we closed above support at 48.34. We want to get above 48.66 to really see that next push higher. So for me, I said I wanted to trade around support. Didn't catch one support, but I did catch a formation that we had going on. With the pattern, I figured that with the bulls putting pressure up, we had a bit of a symmetric triangle, and the bears being barely able to hold the line, we get a push higher. That's how I made my cash on that one. Let's go to our Rigetti for this one. Closing just a little bit higher than the day before. Volume still decent. Volume still holding out. We're looking for $16 to come out of that one. If the market's favorable next week, if the market bias is on our side, we could definitely see a push higher still with the quantum stocks. I don't think they're done. And then QUBT. For this one, shared with me by a community member, this one peaked out all the way up at $14.30 before retracing today, down to $13.31. So do I think quantum stocks are done for this run? As long as the market's decent next week, I really don't think that they are. If the market is going to continue to pull back and continue to mess around a little bit with those low numbers, sort of like we saw today, it's going to keep on dropping. If that's the case, well, quantum stocks are going to have a little bit of a struggle without any sort of news catalyst to move them along from where they're at right now. With the market bias on their side, with the markets recovering, if we get good news, if the markets go back to a party, the quantum stocks are also likely going to join that party, and most likely in an outsized way. We just have to keep our fingers crossed that that's exactly what happens. If not, if the market pulls back, quantum stocks are likely also going to pull back, and then we watch for that next little ramp up. And something that I haven't said before, I feel like we move from AI being the big thing that really moved the markets to the next exciting thing, which is quantum. It's kind of like when we saw the Marvel movies when they were actually good, that we had just the individual stories, and then it became the Avengers, and they went from fighting like world level threats to universe level threats. And then after that, it got kind of silly. But I will say that where we're at right now, we have AI. Well, what's bigger than the AI right now? Well, what if we went on to quantum? Imagine what that could do to AI. That's the next big and exciting thing, that next wave of computing, if you will, that moves beyond classical computing. And just the dream of it is going to keep on being sold, especially as we're in that era of innovation, even if it's sort of at a laboratory scale right now with not a lot of commercialization around surrounding it, which means incredible opportunities when we start to see those dips and when we start to see that buildup come in, such as I reported on about a month ago. I'd have to go back and look. I said something's up with the quantum stocks. Keep an eye on them. And then, well, you guys have seen what happened. If you guys want to keep on seeing what I'm saying, keep on up with the news, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And if you want more to the minute stuff, make sure that you also join the Discord, use the earner tier. And if you guys want to learn about trading options, technical analysis, or technical trading, use the bread recipe yourself, use the link in the description for Stockmo Academy. Sign up for either link. Use the code word doctor. Matter of fact, sign up for both. Use the code word doctor. It's going to save you a ton of cash. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Enjoy your weekend. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education. Remember, my friends, that learning is earning. We'll see you next video.